Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Today we're doing the Demon Hunter Starter Guide for Season 26 Diablo 3, the Season of the Echoing Nightmares. Should be a good one. I think we gave this maybe the second best start in the season. Not as good as the Inner Monk, but it is going to be pretty good. So what we're going to do today, well, we're going to get you from level 1 to end game. So the Maruarder Demon Hunter is going to be one of the best builds, I think, to do the Echoing Nightmares, just in general, and certainly out the gate and early, it's going to be pretty good. It's nice for speed drifts, not so hot for keys, but don't worry, we've got Gears of Dreadlands on the Demon Hunter that will sort that out. Same for bounties. Marauder, probably not so hot for that, but Gears of Dreadland is excellent. So today we're going to take you from 0 to hero, or if you prefer, beta soy boy to alpha giga chad. On the alpha giga chad scale, Marauder is probably fairly high because, as we say, good for echoing nightmares and quite powerful early on. Welcome if you're new. Do consider subscribing. We're going to be covering Season 26 as much as we can, so we're going to look and investigate all the new mechanics with the Echoing Nightmares mode, maybe try and do some build videos, a few bits and bobs as we go. I will link this document in the description, so if you want to download it, make a copy for yourself and amend it, by all means you can do so, and I'll try and put some video links to what we've done. So Maruarder T16 guide, GOD refresher T16 bounty build, and as I say, we're going to add some videos as the season goes. And finally, as always guys, a like brightens my day. So what's new for your Demon Hunter in Season 26? Well, not much. Leveling Echoing Nightmares doesn't apply, so we are kind of back to how we have been the last few seasons. There's no mechanic, no season theme that's going to help us out. It's just that 1 to 70 grind that we normally do. But when we do get to 70, we will unlock the new endgame mode, which is the Echoing Nightmares. It's a wave-based mode, so you have to try and defeat waves of enemies until you either die or you get overwhelmed. Some pretty good rewards on offer. It's going to be fun mode. The longest time, all we've done on this game is T16 to get keys, bounties to reforge our gear, GR speeds to get gem levels, and pushing. So now we have something else to do in the game, which is the Echoing Nightmares. It's going to give pretty big XP. I think wudijo has calculated it's going to be the equivalent of doing about a GR139 in about 2-3 minutes. And that is because the XP is capped at wave 150. So unfortunately there is no incentive to go past wave 150. I don't see that changing. So that is a little bit of a bummer. But we do get some good rewards. We get an absolute boatload of XP, which is nice. Going to be really good for solo casual players to help grind up our Paragon. We're going to get some, goodies at the end, a chest with some loot in, but the most important thing we're going to get is probably going to be the augment gem, the Whisper of Atonement. The way this works, whatever wave it is you clear, that's the level of the Whisper of Atonement you get. So if you clear yourself a wave 106, 107, you get a 106 or 107 gem. You can carry on leveling it by doing GRs past this point, and the cap on that is 125. So out of an Echoing Nightmare, you're not going to get a gem higher than 125. Even if you do wave 150, you're still going to be maxed out at wave 125. The gem itself will go up to 150 if you want to stay and do that. But the idea, I guess, is that this is going to be a shortcut mechanic to get all of your builds augmented, whatever you want to play. Slap those 125 level augments on, and it's going to be pretty good. Now, to open one of these Echoing Nightmares, you're going to need what's called a Petrified Scream. This is a key. It will drop at the end of a normal Greater Rift. Drop rate on PTR was 100%. Even if you did a GR1, you would get one. We don't know what the drop rate is going to be on the season. So again, that's something to be worked out. It could be 10%, it could be 50%, it could be 90%, it could be 1 in every 100 rifts. It could have the same rarity as a gift. We just don't know. We're going to kind of find that out. But yeah, as we say, for leveling, nothing new. But XP meta definitely shifted. Echoing Nightmares looks like it's going to be the way to go. An important date, season starts on the 15th of April. That's only 2 days away. Very excited for it. Do not do your challenge rift. It resets a couple of days ago on Monday. Don't do it, otherwise you will be big sad and you will miss out on your challenge rift goodie bag. Now, the first steps to do once the season is live, you can either create a new character or you can rebirth an old one. If you rebirth, just make sure to get your gear out of your mailbox, because anything on that character or in its inventory will be mailed to you via the in-game system. It won't obviously come to your seasonal character, it'll go to non-season, so you just need to make sure you don't lose any of your items, but you can do 3 rebirths a season. Once you made a character, I like to log in and actually set foot in Sanctuary, because that way I know the game 100% has me there and registered. I'm then going to log out and beat the challenge rift. Raxx has done a guide already on the EU and NA challenge rifts. Wudijo might do one. He did one last season, I think. But one of those two will do guides. Very easy, very well explained. If you get stuck, you can always group and join a multiplayer game. Generally, that makes the challenge rifts easier. Sometimes they can be a bit of a pig. Once you beat the challenge rift, equip a pet. I always forget this, but it increases your pickup radius and is just generally handy. And then we're going to put some cosmetics on to make ourselves look baller. Now, in the challenge rift goodie bag, we're going to get some materials, which are going to be very handy. We're going to get enough to do some two-handed rerolls for reduced level requirements. We can also craft some early weapons, so two-handed bows. I think they start at level 8. You can craft 3 or 4 of them and just swap them on. And all this does is it reduces the RNG, and it just means that you're getting a guaranteed weapon at like level 8, level 16, level 21, whatever it is, for a nice big damage increase. We're also going to get some Death's Breaths, enough to do 1 upgrade and 1 upgrade only, so we do have to be mindful of that. But good news for the Demon Hunter, we do get a guaranteed multiplier. We get some gold to buy gear from vendors, very underrated on your journey to 70. Buying gear from vendors can give your character quite a big power boost. And we also get 475 blood shards to spend. And that cruel, cold-hearted bitch Kadala, who just manages to shaft me every season. But we'll see what we get. Some early steps, you can take the follower's weapon. Obviously for the Demon Hunter, you're probably going to want to take the Scoundrel's bow. You can also pick yourself up some life per second gear from a vendor, very powerful early on, until you get like the Templar leveled up. I personally still do go and do a boss bounty, so Magda, Zoltan Cool, Act 2, only takes a minute. You're going to get yourself a guaranteed chest with some good items in it, hopefully. You don't have to go too far out of your way to do that. Do it on whatever difficulty you can, just as high as you can, and then once you've done that, you're then going to go and get the cube, which is in Act 3, the Ruins of Sescheron. Again, just do it on the hardest difficulty you can. You're looking to Massacre bonus on your way to the cube via level 1, go down into the Elder Sanctum, again repeat the Massacre bonus, and do keep an eye out for the cursed chest on the 2nd level. Spawns fairly regularly, not all the time, but it is quite common, even if it's not the bounty itself, so do keep an eye out for that. Once you're back, you're going to train Hadrig and the Mystic. You should still be under level 17 at this point, which is when the loot pool starts to change, but I've never been over level 16 when doing this, even if you get a godly Massacre bonus on the way there. Now, in terms of what we're going to use the goodie bag for, upgrading weapons is probably the easiest on the Demon Hunter. We've put the Dagger in gold because it's a guaranteed multiplier, so obviously it is pretty nice. We can either get ourselves a Carle's Point, which will buff up Impale, or we can get a Lord Greenstone's Fan, which will buff up Fan of Knives. Both are useful, both give a modifier, so you're never going to be shit out of luck, as we like to say on this channel. In terms of spending the blood shards, there are a couple of choices that you can do. Braces, Wraps of Clarity are nice. They do give a 50% damage reduction. If you spent all 475 blood shards on these, you'd have just under 87% chance of getting them, so pretty high. What you might want to do is you might want to go for a Quiver at level 30, because you can get Sin Seekers to buff rapid fire. So let's say you get a Lord Greenstone's Fan. I probably would roll for Quivers at 30 because I'd like the Sin Seekers for the resource cost reduction on rapid fire. 62% chance of getting them because there are other Quivers in the pool. If, let's say, you get the Impale Dagger, well, I would probably wait until level 31 and roll for Quivers there, trying to get the Holy Point shot. But chances are pretty low, 38%, because, again, it's another Quiver that is in the pool. But that is probably what I would be doing. As always, there are some other items. Lyric's Crown is great for XP. It'll double the effect of the gem inside it. Well, up to double if you get a really good roll. You can also get Pox Folds. They'll help with Massacre bonusing. So a couple of items, if you got really lucky, you could go for those if you wanted. The two-handed bow reroll. This is very important because it's going to allow us to use a level 70 item much earlier. Now, what you want to do is you want to craft a two-handed bow or a crossbow on a Witch Doctor. Now, you want to use Witch Doctor because it will take out a couple of things. On the secondaries, it'll take out max discipline, which is handy because it'll limit the pool of secondaries that we've got. It also will take out dexterity off the primary stat, and this is handy because it means you've got therefore a higher chance of getting life per hit. When you make a bow or a crossbow, you're looking for a crowd control on the secondary, and ideally you've got life per hit on there as well. What you're going to do is you're going to leave the crowd control on, you're going to reroll the other secondary property to get reduced level requirement, looking for anything over level 20. Now I always say you need to be very careful with your resources for this, you need to balance this. You can run out of gold if you just re-roll the same piece over and over again, so don't do that, bad idea. If you craft too many bows initially, you can run out of veiled crystals, so again, you just kind of need to play this by ear. You will gain experience, but you know, a few rolls on each item and then maybe craft another one if you're not getting too much luck, but you can get more veiled crystals as you level, but you know, you want this to be as good as possible. So looking at some examples, I've crafted 2 bows and a crossbow on a witch doctor. As you can see, the left hand side is the shit one. This has got no crowd control, so we're missing that. So if we re-rolled either of those secondary, we could get any of the crowd controls: slow, stun, fear, immobilize. There's literally like a bunch of them. In the middle, we've got what's probably going to be the most likely outcome, which is that we've got a secondary crowd control. We've then rolled off the other secondary to get reduced level requirement. 23 in this case, anything over 20 we are happy with. And then on the right hand side, we've got what is probably the best option. It's got life per hit on the primary stats. It's got the chance to chill on the secondary. So in this case, we'd roll off the monster grant experience. We'd only have 3 possible outcomes, one of which would be level reduction. As I say, we're hoping to get something over 20. In terms of areas to level, Halls of Agony can be quite nice to start off with. The monsters are very weak. They move slow. They're easy to destroy, so you can get some early levels there. Fields of Misery, again, is a nice big open area. It's quite a good place to do a Massacre bonus. Spear Chuckles will hurt you a little bit more than Halls of Agony enemies. But in general, the gold standard and how we have all been leveling, I think probably for the last 3 seasons, is Cursed Chest leveling in the Temple of the Firstborn, which is Act 2. If you do get bored of this, I like to occasionally run the Ruins of Sescheron. Again, look for the Cursed Chest bounty. If it is there, you can Massacre bonus level 1, level 2, and go do the Cursed Chest. As I say, that's only if you get bored. If you're happy to play an hour or so, maybe 2 hours on the Temple of the Firstborn, you can simply just do that. And then, as always, the least boring option, in my opinion, is Rifts. You get the dynamic maps, you get the dynamic monsters. It is slower, but you do also get higher legendary chance. So I'm going to be doing temple runs, so the Cursed Chest leveling, but you know, you can pick whichever method suits you. In terms of leveling difficulty and tips, always say the most important thing is to pick a difficulty that is comfortable for you. Goldilocks zone, not too easy that you're one-shotting everything so you can't get Massacre bonuses. Not too hard so that you're dying all the time and it takes ages to kill, so you'll have to play that by ear depending on what modifiers you get, what gear you get, those types of things. Red gem always in the helm for extra XP. Again, if you do happen to find a Leoric's crown, so much the better. Red gem in your weapon for extra damage, so obviously socket in your helm, socket in your weapon are very important. Probably worthwhile keeping on socketed items rather than non-socketed, but again, you have to play that by ear. You can also combine the gems at the jeweler to make them as strong as possible, so if you find yourself a bunch of rubies, by all means combine them at the jeweler to make them even stronger for extra XP and damage. When you're crafting bows or crossbows early on to swap onto your character, like the level 8, level 16, whatever it is, you can transmog them. That will avoid auto salvage. That only applies to PC, not console, but it can save you a bit of pain. And again, early on, you're looking for rings and amulets with plus damage, so kind of like level 8, level 11 is a good range for that. And they're pretty much the top tips. The most important things, I think, for leveling as fast as you can. If you are going for the Cursed Chest leveling, which, as I say, I think 95% plus of the player base probably does, I recommend doing the whole zone. The reasons for this are it's easy to get Massacre bonuses even if you don't have the Cursed Chest. There's lots of weak enemies that are quite easy to chain together. There are lots of Resplendent chests, which is great for gear, and the chest itself does have a high spawn rate, not always immediately obvious where it is, so sometimes it can be quite far off into the map, but it is worth doing. As always, any damage over time, any range skills are going to make this easier. So Demon Hunter has pretty much got a fairly easy time of this. AoE skills make it easier, so we'll talk about some skills in a bit. But Demon Hunter is quite good at Massacre bonus leveling because it's a ranged class. Put this in red because I always forget. After each run, check the vendors. You can give yourself a nice power boost by just simply buying some gear. Gold is pretty cheap, provided you haven't spent it all on your rerolling. And again, another little tip, if you're struggling for gear, you can go and do a boss bounty. Magda, Zoltan Cool, like we did at the start. But I still think vendors is probably the way to go. In terms of what skills you're going to use as Demon Hunter, obviously it depends what you get out of your challenge rift bag. You're either been rocking Fan of Knives or Impale. Chackhram has got great AoE, it's quite low resource, it's quite easy to chain the enemies together, and Vault is pretty much an essential because it's going to give you a bit of mobility and a little bit of speed. But ultimately it's kind of up to you how you want to build your Demon Hunter, what skills that you want to use, but you're going to be damaging either with Impale or with Fan of Knives. Now when you do get to 270, you're going to get the Marauder set, S tier for Echoing Nightmares, probably S tier for pushing in the game, A tier for speeds, and not very good for keys. So the 2-piece, we're going to get all the companions. That's kind of nice, some useful runes there. 4-piece sentries will also fire some of the skills that we do, and also our equipped hatred spender, so we are getting damage out the 4-piece, which is nice. 6-piece, 12,000% damage on primary skills, and a bunch of others that you can read yourself, you know, Impale, Chakram, stuff like that. That is per sentry, so it is quite a lot of damage. So in terms of starting sets, 2-piece I think is quite strong, 4-piece is very strong, and 6-piece, as soon as you get it, you're going to be absolutely crushing content. So really good set to pick up. Some tips immediately at 70. Sage's set is craftable. This gives a nice stat boost, plus 250 to all the main stats, so more damage, more toughness. It gives you double DBs, so twice the amount of Death's Breath, which is great for upgrading things to get your build going. When you finish using them, you can always pass them to your follower. They do emanate, so again you can carry on with those extra DBs whilst you power everything up. Goes without saying, I'm sure, complete your season journey just as soon as you can. But bear in mind, you can do the convert set items. If you find yourself a couple of Marauder pieces, you get lucky, you can convert them in the cube and make your 6-piece bonus up. That has happened to me a couple of times, and it just feels amazing to get your season journey done on when you've only got 4 pieces collected. You can also make a level 1 Demon Hunter. The main thing that I think to pick up at level 1 is a Raxx of Clarity for that 50% damage reduction. You just simply put it in the cube and extract it, and it is pretty good for the toughness. It does help out quite a bit. For upgrades, Marauders, I'd probably look into do Cluster Arrow. That's definitely the most powerful skill I think that the Marauder can use with the set. So you're looking for a Manticore, which is a 2-handed crossbow. Bombardier's Rucksack is essential because this will give more sentries. More sentries is more damage on the 6-piece, so obviously we want that. But you can consider the other modifiers, so multi-shot, Impale, maybe make a generator build early on. But in terms of upgrading, I'm going for Manticore, and then I'm going for the Bombardier's Rucksack. So those two are my top priority. Some other stuff that you might want to be using in the cube, so upgrading rings or amulets, level 70 items looking for conventional elements, Stone of Jordan, focus restraint, squirts, things like that. Just trying to fill out your jewellery with some extra damage options. Weapon wise, I think it's useful to pick up a Yang's Recurve as a Demon Hunter, huge for resource cost reduction, so you're going to use it with your Marauder Demon Hunter. You're probably going to use it with your Gears of Dreadlands Demon Hunter as well for keys and for bounties. A Dawn or one-handed crossbow is kind of handy. Vengeance, huge cooldown reduction for that. Fortress Ballista can be a decent shield for Gears of Dreadlands Demon Hunter. So once I've upgraded enough and I've got my rings and amulets sorted, and I'm going to do bows to get Yangs, and I'm going to move over to one-handed crossbows looking for Dawn and Fortress Ballista. In terms of blood shard spending, we're going to pump everything into the Bombardier's Rucksacks at Quivers at level 70. More sentries is more damage, as we talked about. We're also looking for the 9th Siri Satchel for our Gears of Dreadland build, which we're going to set up as well. So that's where the blood shards are going to go. Once I've got both of those, I'm then going to move on to rings, trying to get their conventional elements, Stone of Jordan, focus restraint, puzzle rings, those types of things. After that, I'm going to move on to the Gears of Dreadlands, so rolling for the God pieces. Again, looking to get T16 and bounty at, the fastest pace that we can, basically. Shoulders are the easiest Gears of Dreadland piece to hit. That will cost you the least number of blood shards on average, but I would roll pants personally to start off with, because you want to get depth diggers as well for your cube as a Gears of Dreadlands, so it makes sense to get that extra item that you're looking for. Hunter's Wrath belt obviously essential as well for a Gears of Dreadlands Demon Hunter. General shopping list, some other stuff you're going to need. Crimson's Plans, Ring of Royal Grandeur. You're going to need these really to unlock the true power of Marauders for the Echoing Nightmare. I probably would wait until I got a God build set up before going off and doing these. A straight 6-piece Gears of Dreadlands Demon Hunter will crush T16 bounties. You don't need the Crimsons, you don't need the Rogue for it. You're obviously looking to fill out your legendary gems. Enforcer for the Marauders is really handy, because it means that your Templar, your Enchantress will be able to stay alive, so you can take the access all skills token, which is pretty good. You're going to look for your God gems, so channeling, trapped, powerful, just all the good stuff that's going to give you extra damage. You're also looking for gold wrap, a puzzle ring to put in the cube to go for Boon of the Hoarder, and as we say, the God pieces to round out the bounty and T16 build. Now, once you've completed all that shopping list, you should be pretty good to go. You're going to have a Gears of Dreadlands Demon Hunter to crush keys, do your bounties very fast, some speed jars to get your keys to enter the Echoing Nightmares mode. You can have a Marauder Demon Hunter set up on Cluster Arrow to crush the Echoing Nightmares. You're going to get Whispers of Atonement. You just need to build up your gems, get your augments on, and you can kind of cycle that forwards to get as much done as possible. Now, I haven't popped this on here, it's just popped into my mind now. You also want to be building yourself a ZDH if you're happy to play groups. That's going to be quite in demand, a lot of extra damage for the Echoing Nightmares. So again, that's I'll link the last ZDH guide that we did. You want to find some pieces for that, because you will find groups pretty easy to come by. So you can pick DPS for the Marauder, you can pick support for the ZDH. It's going to be pretty nice. In the video description, I'll link the Marauders T16 starter guide that we did. God T16 Bounty GR Refresher will be coming out soon. And yeah, we'll probably make some more DH videos on the season. I can't quite decide between Monk, Demon Hunter and Barb. It'll probably depend on the group comp that I'm in. But yeah, looking forward to the season a lot. So thank you very much. Everybody who supports the channel really does mean the world to me. Any feedback is welcome. One thing I did think about, having done this for 3 of the classes now, would it be useful to go through the builds in detail? What videos would you like on the season? As always, guys, like, subscribe, and super thanks. Means the world. Any financial support is greatly appreciated. It does make these videos easier to justify to the wife to spend the time on them. That's all for today. Maybe we'll be back with another video later. We've got some build stuff to do. Raycore, Gears of Dreadlands, Inners for T16 speeds, that kind of thing. Other than that, I shall see you on the season. Good luck with your RNG. I've been the Filthy Casual. Take it easy. Peace.